Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith of Smiths in the Black, and usually if it's a Monday we do the Power Hour, but summer hours, and JJ sitting in for me on Mondays, so for the next few weeks, next 3 weeks I guess, because we got a holiday, or 2 weeks I guess, it's going to be on Tuesday. So normally if you're new here, usually it's on a Monday, and then Strat Attack is on Tuesday, but just for the next couple of weeks we're going to do both on Tuesday. So also if you can't make it, you can always drop me an email so I can answer the questions here, and it'll be recorded so everybody gets to hear the answer, and so do you, because I know some people work or wherever they are doing what they do. So let's get started with the emails first. So first question. Um, if you have time frame continuity with the monthly, weekly, daily, and hourly, you can then enter a setup from the 60 or 30 so long as the time frames stay the same. Yes, you can. So the question is whether you're trading it directional and knowing how to gauge magnitude. But yes, you can. And if so, you enter from one setups on the worksheet or the 30/60 chart. Yep, yep, anything will work when you got full time frame continuity. So one of the things that we use to heighten probability is if you watch the Strat Attack tonight, you'll see that oftentimes we're looking for simultaneous breaks, which means like an entire sector's going and they're coming into all of them. That's a good sign. That's something we want to know about. A common mistake people make will be trying to pick out their favorite setup or their favorite stock or whatever. Ours is where they're going. So like tonight, we know China is turning around. Ton of 2 weeks in China. What's going on here? A ton of 2 weeks in China. Also, we've got like pandemic names like Wynn Resorts here going RevStrat with LVS, and so when we can pick up on these themes, that tells us what the institutions are doing, and it heightens our probability. So that's really important. So, and as you saw XLP today, they were hitting almost every XLP off the inside day to the downside, and that's all in the Strat Attack for later. It's processing right now. You can watch that right after this. Next question. Okay. Okay. Last week, Fiserv had an inside bar set up on the weekly, so I was watching for an entry above 112.29. And so Fiserv, okay, so had some other bar issues in here, but you are trying to take out last month's highs, right? And I'm saying here's your inside week, and stuck in here on the daily. So happened on Monday. The initial break happened on Monday last week during the last 30 minutes of the day. This is where I've normally entered on the hourly chart, only to get stopped out when the price came back in on the next bar. Pretend it wasn't a new day for purposes of this example. My question is, once price triggers the signal on the higher time frame, should I always wait for a triangle layout pullback to happen on a lower time frame, like the 30, and then get in after the next trigger above the initial break of that lower time frame? Is this what you mean when you say let them try they out? They always will. Yes. So some people, there's different levels of aggression for people, and so you can take this as soon as it breaks, right? They will triangle them out eventually, but you can take it. You just got to make sure it stays like any other setup. It's just got to stay out of there. So once it takes that week, make sure it stays out of there. But yeah, most likely they're going to triangle them out somewhere. And so here you got this was directional and then just kind of took off here. So here's where they're triangling them out. It's like down into here and then last minute break here on the 60. But like I was saying, it's like you want to heighten your probability by going into the sectors, like stuff that I talk about, right? And that's why we pick up on these themes, by Strat Attack or by Strat Time Report, stuff like that, and that's kind of where we know where we're going. So I don't feel like you got to jump around and do your own research. I have more than enough for you. Let's see, and then yeah, you're showing me a bunch of charts where they try them out. Yep, yep, exactly. So you guys can't see it, but I can. And let's see. Next question. And let me see. And so my advice here was about trading one condition as opposed to trading one stock. Now, because something like a Tesla, And so Tesla was more a last year kind of thing, right? And so let's say that you're just going to pick one stock, and Tesla still moves around, plenty. But in general, you can see these 4 months all just stuck in here. Compared to things that are moving around like something like a Moderna, which is drying up a little bit right now. But you get the idea when you have all these long green and red, bars on the monthlies, stuff like that. So you'd rather trade the condition and have like heavy time frame continuity, stuff like that. And stop trading futures and trade stocks. You can trade them both. It's just the thing about stocks, as I just pointed out, is that you have more evidence of what's going on. That's why when we're picking up on the sectors, you have a lot more evidence of what's going on. And okay, move from the 1 minute to the 30 time frame. That would be a good idea. And stop trading 1 and 3 minutes. Yeah, that's a little tight. Okay. Okay. So stocks, okay, stops in the course. So put the 1 cent stop. Yeah, and the reason I do the 1 cent stop is so I know what you're doing. I need to know what you're doing. I can fix anything. I got to know what the problem is, right? And so if it's just getting stopped out, do battle. Uh, get taken out often if you do this. Well, the thing is, I need to know what you're doing exactly, right? And so the low of the 60 and 30 is too far away, making the stop too big. Yes, because you want to have the only true way to gauge risk reward is where would you get stopped and where's the magnitude? How far is this thing going to go? Is it worth doing, right? And so, like Sarah will tell you, she might use like half of a bar and say if it's going to go 3, it's got to cross that. Otherwise, it's still a 2, right? So, it's whatever you're comfortable with, and where's the magnitude of the sub tries. And I'm good with the lows of like the next 5. Make sure it stays above that. Should I only trade inside bar setups so that the range is small and I use the low of the inside bar? No, 50% of the bar. I wouldn't give it the whole bar because then that's rev strat. And when do I move my stop to break even? As soon as it moves up. We want to protect those gains because the good ones will just go, right? The good setups just go. And the magnitude take profit targets are clear and work really well in that 30-60. Yep. And I don't know what to do when the price hits magnitude, so I just exit. Well, the thing is, you don't have to take off everything either, right? You can take off a portion of it, and then if it triangles them out and goes back up, you can add back in. So more often than not, exhaustion risk just kind of does nothing. Unless you're volatile like Moderna here and you got your 2-2 reversal off of that. That's nice. Boom. That was a really nice puker 2-2 day. And should I trail the lows in the 5 and 15 time frame after magnitude is hit? I'm good with that. Or 30, depending on how far it is. Moving from 1 minute to 30 minutes, I have difficulty with managing the trade when the price pulls into the candle. When do you exit as the price pulls back into your 30-minute bar once you earn the trade and before it hits your magnitude? As long as it's still good and you're still at a profit, you can hold it. Right? As long as it's still tuned in your direction. And also, don't it's a combination of things where on the stops is because what I'm seeing here is just like a 30-minute chart. I need to know what everything's doing, right? Where's the magnitude on the month? Where's the magnitude on the week? Where's the magnitude on the day, right? Do we still have a lot of that? That's something I'd want to know about too. Are we in a sector? All that kind of stuff. And that's why talking to me during the day is very important, right? Show me exactly what you're doing and I'll tell you what's good and what's bad about it. High volatility suggests that when volatility is very high, use intraday timeframes. Yes, because and the reason you want to do that And yeah, it'd be VIX over 25, maybe over 30. And the reason you want to do that is because what you're seeing during periods of volatility is um, you're seeing as much range and volume and stuff like that as you'd normally see in a week in an hour, right? Or more, right? So the time frames shrink. Part of time frame using AT average true range. Well, we want things that are moving around. And yeah, 2 times ATR. That's stuff we want. Normally people wouldn't touch that, or they'll say I'm going to wait and fade it. That's exactly when you want in, especially if you got magnitude coming back through. So something like airbag and bag today. Boom. And there you go. Just wait for your little 60 right here and triangle it out. Boom. Off she goes. All right. People might say, well, I missed all of this. So you got this. And it's not a loser, right? That's correct. What two strat combos setups would you suggest to focus on first? 2-2 reversals for sure, and a 2-1-2 reversal. You can use both those reversals. Because I said what is the strongest signals is the wrong question, right? It's the highest concentration of simultaneous signals in one direction. Like I just showed you, like all the Chinese stocks are all 2 weeks to the upside, right? All that kind of stuff. So yeah. And you mentioned once a three, always a three cannot be, right? Can't not be. Understand that this is referring to the possible bar closes at three cannot change to a one or two. But what is the reason this is important? I don't understand what action this means. Should I take or not take? Does it mean I should look for a reversal, trade the cross back through the open three? You sure could, because once threes hit magnitude, then you want to know about anything going back the other way, right? So let's say some people will say I'm not going to touch something because it's red on the month, but if it goes back green on the week and the day and the 60, you can definitely take that. Because once a three, always a three can't not be. Broadening formations tend to get bigger, right? Thus the name, right? So once you got a three, that's something you want to know about. Because before you knew any of this stuff, that's when you got killed. When you didn't realize that a three was going against you, and you were waiting for a bounce or whatever to get out. Next question. There's a boatload of questions here on the emails. Okay. Okay, I'm a brand new trader. Have learned as much as I can about the strat from yourself and the rest of the gang. Okay, just set my trades the night before, set my triggers and magnitudes according to the strat. I typically look at 3-2 down, green, or 3-2 up red on the daily charts. 3-2 up red. Okay, set my stops below the purchase price. Get stopped out in the first few minutes of trading. If I don't rarely reach magnitude, if I'm going to trade this way, I be looking at larger time frames to stay away from the daily? Yes. And the gappers, yeah, stay on the gappers. Kara worked really nicely today, and so also, like I said, brand new. Tell me what you're doing. So the night before, normally you'd want to do it in the morning. You want to see what's going on. I mean, obviously, what we've seen is like a lot of nothingness in the futures, right? And so every morning we're like, oh, new highs, here we go. And but what I used to do is I would do my research in the morning. Like when I would rifle through all the charts, I would do my research in the morning because then we get a better idea what's going on, what the future's doing, what are these guys doing, what are these guys doing, right? And then check with me. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay. And next question. Okay. Okay. First, is it fair to get long on a daily or weekly reversal and then exit on a 60? Sure. Particularly when at exhaustion risk? Yep. No, I'm good with the 60. And if you go down to 5 or 15er, if you're a nervous Nelly, depending on how much profit you have in it, you can take some off because you can always triangle them back up and get back in. And so a lot of this, like I say often, is that the strat's going to customize itself to you, right? Not everybody can handle, 10 positions, and not everybody can handle, trading 5-minute bars or whatever, but so it customizes itself to you, right? Some people can take a lot more pain than others. Say, okay, well, I'm going to let this play out because I've got the longer time frame still working. Excuse me. On occasion, I've nailed the exit, but not get short. Sometimes they try me out and then go on to new highs, like Nvidia and Morgan Stanley off the top of my head. If I blink, it's easy to miss the reversal back up. Either I always defend my positions and never let a gain turn into a loss. That's fine. Is it also fair to stock companies that have recently made new lows and then buy or short them on reversal patterns without time frame continuity? For example, I was long off the reversals in mid-May, ZS, Roku, Maro, and D-Dog off the top of my head when time frame continuity was red. Recently, I noticed Coop. Well, it's got to have some continuity. Right? It has to have something. It's got to at least have a 60. Because that's why I'm always saying, if something works, what will that create, negate, or do? And set up. So Coop here in the monthly, here. This is setting up potential the 322 for next month. That's something I'd want to know about right there. Right? And so here, you got the slight lower low, but you're talking about mid-May. April, May, well, that had kind of going back to the upside. So it's always a matter of, like, when I talk about, like, playing pool. If the 60 works, what's that going to do to mess up everything else? Right? Be like, well, it's got full time from continuity downside. I'm like, not now, it doesn't. Now it's got a 2-2 reversal on the 60. And if that works, it sets up daily hammer. And if that works, that's a 2-2 reversal on the day. And if that works, what will that do? All right? So you always want to be forward thinking. Right? If this works, what will that create, negate, or do? So if this works, you might get bottom of the try. Boom. Come take these guys out. All right? So we'll see. You can see it all comes through here, hits this magnitude. Lower lows on the daily, higher high, takes out all these guys, and then it goes into exhaustion and does this. May as well draw it. Your Coop try. I've day traded and am comfortable that, especially in this market, there doesn't seem to be consistent follow through. No, doesn't. If I want to take intermediate term positions, would I do that off the daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly? In your estimation, and do I wait for a pullback 5 to 20%? You don't have to wait for any percentage. You just have to wait for it to set up. But yeah, you'd want to have at least a weekly going your way. You're going to hold for a while. And next question. Okay. Can you take a hammer or shooter at the close of the day, for example, Chiners? JD here. Well, the thing about it here, if you took it, that's a 3, so you'd be aware of that, right? But you do have the 2-2 week, see? So if you have the week already in gear, it's a little aggressive, but you could do that because the weekly's still good. So as long as those things are like still good, like how about Baba? Baba, that would have been a little aggressive because it was still a 2 down. All right, you did get your gapper lucky, but so the good thing about it though was you would be closer to. It's like if you had a monthly signal working on this thing, or a weekly already working, that'd be another thing. So when things occur matters. So the good thing here is when you hear me say, "What's the next 2?" If you look at Baba, it's much closer to 2 and up, isn't it? It is. So that's what you would do. That's why you would do it. Because if it works, then you get the potential outside week. But we didn't have a lot of evidence on this baby, but except that it's a lower low, right? And you're closer to 2 and up, but a little aggressive. All right. Thanks for your patience. Now to you guys. Okay. And okay, Sunshiny's got the answered. And can you go through the way how Kaz? I don't know if Kaz, you here? He might even help. So here's what I'm saying. For some people, what they'll do on the good, what they'll do is like let's say, how'd this thing open? See, some people. So look, you can see on the 15-minute right here, 2-2 reversal on the 15. Boom, right there. That works right away. So what you'll see is the good ones work right away. Boom, puke, right? And then what he'll do is he'll just leave his stop where he got in, and then go do something else, so he doesn't get micro tried here. Because when you do that, it only takes a few that don't come back, right? As you've seen on the gap list, some of these babies don't come back, right? Up or down. So you like RCII, it's perfect. Let's say you got the 212 back up here on the 30-minute. Just let it go. Come in at the end of the day, so this mess doesn't mess with your mind. This doesn't stop you out. And then 62.70 comes 64.95 and come back in the last half an hour and move up a tight stop and decide whether you want to hold it. Still good. Like the Groupon. That's right. Pick. Right. Then you can decide. So if you got in up here and it's all the way down here, you don't have to cover. Then you can just move it down the highs of the day. All right. And so what that eliminates a lot of stress. And as you've heard me say, I'd prefer that you just trade one condition as opposed to jumping around and trying to be the master of everything strat. Because once you master just one part of it, like so Kaz will be like on a really short-term time frame, but he knows what the condition is and he knows what a winner looks like, right? It should just go right away. And if it goes, they don't want to mess with it. Don't want to mess the trade up. Because you'll see them trying the out, right, when you're sitting here all day. Then by the end of the day, it resolves on the highs or the lows. And if you just let it go, no stress. Make sense? He set to stop even. So here. Let's say he got the 15er. Boom. Right here. That's below 1637. Whacks it at 36. Leaves a stop at 36. And see you later. You guys can have all this garbage. Then I'll come back and just clean it up at the end. And like I said, you don't always have to get rid of everything either. Because if you got it from here to here, and then you take off half, then your average cost is a lot higher, right? And that's a good way to build a portfolio too on the long side, right? Use all these winning positions to create your long-term portfolio, and all you got is winners. And then you can cut it back to where your cost basis is almost nothing, and then just let them go, and there's your portfolio. Yeah, he'll just stop out. That'll happen. It's when it doesn't. It's the keep a goingers. The keep a goingers. That's all he wants is the keep a goingers. Sell third or half, yep. And you just keep lowering your cost basis, and then get out of your losers fast, hold on to your winners, cut them in half, and then all you got is a big pile of winners. Vidya. That was a fun month. Boom, 2-2 reversal month. So the good thing about the monthlies too, or the weeklies, like I pointed out in Strat Attack, You got the rest of the week. Those guys are on the menu. All the 2-2 weekers are all on the menu all week, and then you get the monthly. It's on the menu all month. And then if you're in from down here or something, a nice 2-2 weeker right here, then you can let them mess around up in here. Who cares? Nowhere near me. Well, if you can get hotkeys, right, that would help, especially in the gappers. Just bam, just wax it, puts in your stop right away for you. And then go do something else, like sell guns or something. Arm America. And when you say price moves in the direction of the most twos and failed twos go in 3, are you referring to sectors, individual stocks, anything? So it's like a stock going up, it's got to have some twos going in there somewhere, right? And so that's where, and by sector or the overall market, and that's why you have the broader averages drying up during the day, because you got some things going 2 up and some things going 2 down in there. So this thing's going nowhere, but that tells us where to go. Like I just pointed out, of all the, the China stocks are all 2 up. That's going to work, right? They were buying China today, big time, right? We knew that. That's how we get their footprints. Anybody know Tastyworks hotkeys? Hopefully in time we'll have, we're moving over a lot of the YouTube videos to Sepia here, and we're going to have a lot more strat stuff here, so hopefully we can get a lot of that Facebook stuff for people who don't like Facebook, because the Facebook group is really good. But we're going to have everything strat here, and we will. But all these points are really important about probability. That's when people are like, I only trade futures. I'm like, well, then you better know what the internals look like. And that's why when you hear me trying to figure out what's going on, I'm like, what are the futures doing? I'm like, these things are doing nothing. These things are doing nothing. So here you'll see in the strat attack tonight too. Here, look. CSX, Railroad. Rev strat to the downside. Norfolk Southern. Rev strat to the downside. Union Pacific. Rev strat to the downside. They're selling railroads? Yep. Yes, they are. Yes, they did. Right? PDD. There you go. Turkey. Well, you got them here. You got the 2-1-2 right here. Right, nice. Yep, should be. When you say fit with the gap, stick with the gappers, can we enter on a 2-2 continuation, or should we wait for a triangle out? That's aggressive. That's really aggressive if you're going 2-2 directional. You prefer a 2-2 reversal. Two directional is really aggressive, because the problem with that is you don't have any magnitude. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, because you're working other things. But that's aggressive. There's people who do it, but it better stay out there, because you're potentially walking into a 3. That's the problem with that. Because we like the 2-2 reversals, because another question I get a lot is about drawing the triangles. And like, you don't have to do it. If you do 3 2-2s and 2-2s, you don't have to do it. The triangle's built in. Yeah, the quizzes. You can have quizzes in there. that helps people learn. Even if you get it wrong, then you won't forget. All sorts of good stuff coming. But sticking on the themes of what they are doing is that's what we're doing. A lot of people trying to read charts. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to identify institutional activity. What are they doing? What is they doing? They is buying China. They is selling rails. They are selling XLP across the board. Everybody. Nobody got out of that one alive. XLP, nope, nope. None of them XLPers got out of this. And could get worse because it hasn't taken out the week yet. If this works, what does it set up? It sets up the 2-2 weaker and really wailed on these things. All vaxxed up, don't need no bleach no more. Need any bleach? Nope, vaxxed. RevStrat. Moderna. Why did it do this and do nothing? Still an inside day. Still an inside week. So Moderna hasn't made up its mind just yet. Inside day on a Tuesday. It's trying to go higher, but it's not doing anything. Well off the highs. So coming into Tuesday, Strat Attack, we're looking for some nice long red and green bars on those weeks that have triggered. Run flat like here and do nothing. You might have had a bidder in here. Might have had a buyer down in here, but he's not stepping up. Then he didn't buy any stock, so he had to run it, get in there, buy it up. But then he went away. But in general, doing nothing outside of the 2-1-2 directional 30 puker on the opening. That's what got our attention to see if it could take this out. Couldn't do it. Completed note of strat coaching from you bet. Get them out there. More strat, more better. Talk about the strat. Tell a friend about the strat. So far, pretty much everybody who's heard about it is happy that they did. And another question, should I be sticking to the 30s and 60s on the gapper? Yeah. Do that. And you'll be happy. And then the good thing about it, and you'll hear me say this a lot too, is you going after it. I said it, I think, in the Strat Time report, is you can go after, take a look at those 30-60s, 20 minutes after the hour, and 10 minutes before the top of the hour. And that way you can see if there's any combos. And then you have enough time to run it by me. Watch all 400 vids? All right. That's a lot. There is a lot of stratologists out there. When did he figure that out? When did he figure that out? And then, of course, the greatest story ever sold, the scenario, which put us on steroids. We found it in Jan, yeah, or last year. But it is what it is, and so we practice is, while we've been in exhaustion risk forever, forever in SPY, seemingly on the monthly, no twos since a year ago March to the downside. 1 3, and that's it. And 3 1 2, bam, then twos. All twoing. No, no, no. 10 minutes before the flip and 10 minutes before the top of the hour. 10 minutes before each 30-year. Yep. Then you can say, if this 2-2 reversal works on the 30, that's going to rev strat to 60. Right? That's something I'd want to know about. Because remember, we're using participants against each other. They're doing our dirty work. If these guys stop out, they're going to stop these guys out. And if it's all red, you got real sellers in there too. So you're going to be stopping out some buyers, turning them into sellers while guys are trying to sell. That's not good. That's not good. SQ. SQ, RevStrat week. Okay. Yep. It kind of sits there, unfortunately. You got your gap and sit so far. All this meandering garbage. Bitkern came in a little bit. It would be a continuation, yes, if it has not hit magnitude, yes. Yes, it would. We're still going to look to take these guys out, unless we get a reversal against us, which we do not have. It's a little boring, but it hasn't reversed. And it only somewhat trades with the Bitkern trade. So that makes it a little more challenging, but you're also a 3-week inside pattern as right now. But RevStrat has triggered. RevStrat week? No, that's not boring. I'm just saying it has been here in the last few days, but yeah, RevStrat, get boy. Yell at it. Because you can see the exhaustion risk. It hit its magnitude on the monthly. And then you get the RevStrat or weaker. The evolution, she's just watching it develop as she watches all the vids. When did he figure that out? When did he start talking about that? When did he first say that? Randy Jackson. uh, do you take the same number of trade setups near the end of time periods? No. No, we want to have as much time left on the signals as possible. That's why we want those 60s to trigger right away. Then I got 59 minutes to go after them. And the monthly breaks right at the first, then we got the whole month to go after it. So we prefer to do that. Because the end of the period is time exhaustion risk as opposed to price exhaustion risk. It's running out of time on the signal. if that makes sense. Okay, I'm trying to find something for you. Okay. Sort by date. Okay. Because then if you can dig up the real old schoolers, you get the old in the black newsletter that I used to write, pre-strat. Ooh, looks like we got another question here. Power hour. Sorry. Email. Uh, when you provide the gap list in the morning, what type of scan are they coming from and what time frames? I'm just looking for things that are moving, and that's why I go through them on the opening to see if they actually are a gap or what we want to do with them. I'm just looking for things that are moving. There's no special sauce in that. How different is a observation from a regular gapper? Observation is just something that's moving. We're just picking up on what's moving. It's moving. Okay. For us beginners, it would be possible to provide a gap list and the potential direction it would be heading, long or short. I know that this may sound like asking plastic for training wheels for a Harley, but well, it depends on how it signals. It could be long or short on the gap list. It tells us. We don't tell it. Just used to be an outside bar, right? And if anybody can dig up the old In the Black newsletter off the Facebook page from May 2010, a little razzle dazzle. I can't find it right now, but okay. For example, some gappers gap so much in the pre-market and opening and just decay through the day, right? So a ticker like that would be definitely stock to watch. Sometimes they just keep possibly to short, but sometimes they just keep going. So it's a bit confusing. Your thoughts? Trade reversals, 30-60 reversals. Somebody's getting screwed during the reversal. Maybe you can classify a ticker as a good long or a good short position. You got to know that. If you don't know, then no. Then no. And check with me. So, like with PDD exploded and then went sideways. Yeah, but we knew that that's how we tracked down China. All the Chiners. PDD actually went out near the highs. Specifically, TC 2000 just purchased the gold. Do you think that's enough? The platinum has some historical data analysis that might be helpful. It's also live, but you don't really need to scan. Um, Also, see below the feeds portion of the subscription. Uh, yeah, you don't really when you're starting out. You don't really need to do any scanning. You're going to have more of enough information from me than you could shake a stick at. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Show you. I'll show you. For you new folks, I'll show you a little razzle dazzle. Want to see a little razzle dazzle? Okay. Found it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, don't get distracted. Stay in the 30s and 60s. Watch the gappers. There's a great deal of money right there if you just stay disciplined. Exactly. And let me see. ALB. Okay, so exhaustion risk month. Still inside on the week. All right. I would wait for this weekly break because then you still have some magnitude up into there. You can see how it acts on the opening. Maybe you get a 60 or something. Little 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 slow going. Living gapper testimony. That's what I like to hear. So pre-strat, I used to write the In the Black newsletter. Ready for some razzle dazzle? Here's some ancient history. Monday, May 3rd, 2010. The In the Black newsletter. Look at that. Bollinger Bands, all that garbage in there. But now, here's where it gets interesting. Here's where it gets interesting. So, I just spotted broadening formations. It's still brand new to me, right? And I was trying to figure it out. Um, so here, let's take a look at the Dow, and you can see how it looks like this is a half broadening formation, right? That's what it looks like to me, right? And so when you combine that, and then you look at this, the VXX, which is a decaying asset, if this triangle is a half triangle, and that's going to come up into here, right? That could be a problem, right? So now, here's the VIX itself. See this consolidation? If this goes measured move, right? So a break to new highs would mean a significant decline in the market, right? Significant decline. So let's take a rec at the regular old VIX down here. So like if this kicks in, that's going to be bad. So if this VIX goes here, all right? So then if you go to the bigger one and say, look at this. If this weekly VIX, if this is the half triangle and it's going to go up there, you can see how potentially bad this is, right? And if this here, right, is the lower tri, it's like how potentially a very large inverted triangle bottom being formed. Should this indeed play out, the results would be catastrophic for the market. 3 days later, flash crash down 900. Yeah, boy. Nailed it. Don't you wish you were with me back then? And I was on the headset too. Where's support, Rob? Ain't none. Ain't none. Out of the way. So there's that. Very proud of that one. Yes, sir. No, it was a bad tick in Procter and Gamble. Nope. Big old tries kicking in. Not his first rodeo. But I was still brand new to the tries. The first time I saw the tries was November 2009 during the Fed day. And that's when the eyes started to open. But Strat wasn't complete until 2011. So happy 10th birthday. The problem was it was so hairy that you couldn't do a lot because a lot of systems were going down. And I was like, you can cover your shorts, but if you get long, they might not credit you it. just so you know. And I do have a friend on Facebook who was eyewitness. He was with me on the headset. He's like, he definitely called it. He was definitely all over that one. Hopefully we get one of those again, like last year. Puker. And so here, once again, when I say that things are going to trade them the direction of most twos, like when people were trying to bottom pick last year in here, they're getting killed. Almost everything was two down. They ain't coming back. Ain't coming back anytime soon. And then the new quarter. And if you read my article for New Trader U, I talked about that new quarter. Once that new quarter kicked in, there's a couple things we were going after. Things that had full time frame continuity with quarter, year, and everything else, and anybody taking out these highs. All right. Because I like to use last year as a good example of when things are moving, we know what to do, right? Because we're always talking about jamming people on the wrong sides, like W. Oops. These guys. Boom. Is pandemic bad for these guys? Nope. And then boom. Hello, April. Bam. And that's why we like the monthly signals if we can get them. Otherwise, we just been exhaustion risk, and we just keep plugging higher, like in SPY. But when you get like nice monthly reversals on a bunch of things, good stuff. We just haven't had it in a while. RevStrat 15 or Mondelezer. Puke, you puker. Ah. Here's a nice triangle layout. Bam. So this is what I mean by triangle layout. Boom, puke. 2-2 reversal on the 15er sets up the boom. Here's your bottom pick, and here's a hit them and go back the other way, and here's your ad with the inside 15 down. And Rev Strat weaker. If that works, you can take out the month. All right, slowing down on questions here and coming up to the top of the hour. And so we'll just call it, I think. I'm going to go home. So I will be posting this on my YouTube. Sweet hell. Welcome, new folks. Glad you're here. And take it easy. Take it slow. You know, some people pick this up in 2 seconds. Other people it takes a while. Good thing is we got more than enough information out there, right? If I got to keep saying it over and over again, simultaneous breaks, groups, blah, 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 I'm going to do it. And I probably will. So, all right, welcome, new folks. I'll get this recording out right away. And we'll see you bright and early. All right, good night.